this video, well, that's just an intro right there. It's going to be the second half of the video pertaining to the B-note B-fifth start point, due to Scoob medley, that long covers medley. Starts off to B note, B5, alright. Well, the intro here, well, it's an interesting one. We're basically working, let's just call it a, de-augmented, because we still have the sixth note here. Really, we don't know what it is. If it's de-augmented, we're working the sharp 5 through the 1 position. But we basically got this thing going from the B5, D5, B flat 5, C sharp 5. So 6, 1, that sharp 5, and then the natural 7 position. Again, we just had the 4 positions. Standard 5 application. That's basically our beginning here. And it starts out in that D key. And, well, we're going to move to something that's going to include a D key in it. But the dominant key is actually going to be the C key. So C key dominant, but we also have that D key working the 3 positions. Alright, and this is going to be an E minor. Now pay attention to these first chords here, because these are what make for our rather interesting thing going on with this. Well, what is a pretty much a moving key using chords, but it's going to be a 2-part moving key. So there's a 1-part and a 2-part to everything we're doing. The thing is, the key's gonna move in the middle of it. So like part 1's gonna be 1 key, part 2 is gonna be a different key. Whenever we get to part 1 though, again, that'll be the same key as the one before. It switches, it moves forward in that part 2. Well, actually it moves backwards. We're circling back through the circle of force with this. So we start in CD, we'll be moving to FD. After that will be, what would it be, a B flat and G, and after that, the final one is going to be an E flat and a C. Those are our keys. Again, 1 notes and 3 notes are what we're tracking here. But, so, yeah, it holds on to that D key a little extra, but that's because we're starting with a major chord, or a minor chord. Everything else in this is going to be a major chord or a 5th chord. The E minor chord is the one exception. The next time we start, we're going to be on an A chord, a major chord. And by that time, we'll be pushing back to, no, that one's still in D also. That's the key of F with the complementary of D. After that, we'll be starting with a D 5th chord. And, well, whenever we get to this part, that's going to be where the B flat with the G key comes in. And, well, whenever it transitions into its second part, the one at the very end, followed by the chromatics. That one. Whenever it goes to there, we'll finally be arriving in that E flat key that has the complementary of C in the 3 notes. So, alright. We kind of covered that. I'll include it in the description, of course. I'll talk about more. We'll do even more in the description with this, and we have some original parts for like this intro is original. But I'll include this intro in the description, and even with some of the songs we've already covered, we'll just include more on them in the description. So that's what I'm trying to say. Alright, so you know the first part, E minor, G, A, C, D. The next one, the part 2 for this first part is going to be an A or a D chord, sorry. D, B flat chord, major. C chord, like I'm saying, all major. And A chord. The only thing that wasn't major is our D chord. Our D chord is the chord that we leave as, we just mute the 1 string. We leave it as a 5th chord. This is what I mean by songs write themselves. Like, it chooses what chord it wants to be. Like, it doesn't want to hear that like, it would be perfectly acceptable even for its key. It just doesn't, it does not want that note ringing out with the D chord. It's supposed to be one of those special chords from our initial start position. And for some reason, other than that A chord, which just wants to be an A major, it wants to be like every other major chord. Well, the other two don't. One wants to be a minor chord, the other wants to be a D chord. You can do them any other way and they don't sound as good. That's what I've come to. And that's how I feel about it. Maybe some of that does have to do with preference, but I mean, what sounds good is what sounds good also. What sounds correct. It's like the song tells you this is what you're going to be doing. You don't get a choice. There's no other choice with this. It really is how this one feels. Alright, so again, we have that D5, full D5. So the B flat 5 that I'm playing right now. Well, B flat major, sorry, B flat major. Then C major to A. Alright, now we circle back. That was our second part. Now we circle back to the first part, but we're going to be doing it in our new key. So we're starting on an A chord. A, C, D, F, G. Except the second time through, and really I'm doing a shortened version of this. These are really supposed to be repeated. Everything gets repeated 4 times. So it's really the 4th time. It should be going from these 4-note F, this 4-note F chord right here, just playing the center 4 notes. Instead of going to that G chord right there, we move up to the bar chord. And next part starts. It's going to be the part 2, and it's going to be a G chord again, except now we include the high 1 note, or the 3rd fret on the 1 string. There we go. Now this is an E flat major chord. I'll show you a second guitar part and an easier way to do this before this is all done. Just give me a moment to go through the rest of this and we'll get to that next. But it is an E flat major chord. I'm just playing a C type bar chord. My E notes here, or E flat note. Everything else is just building off of that, just like a C chord. So one more time. F and D. So yeah, G, E flat, F, D. So just cycling chords and skipping steps, basically. All right. After that, we're moving to the D part. This one's going to be this is our 3rd rendition of this. So we're starting on D for this first part of this rendition off the D. It's a lot like the rendition off the E. So whenever you see the 5th chord applications to this, which we'll get into, you'll really see it. But D, F, G, B flat, C. And whenever we get to part 2 to this is where we're transferring, because you're going to see it. Like whenever we went to the first one, you see the B flat note enter. On the second one, you see the E flat note enter. Can you guess what our second chord's gonna be? C2, of course. A flat major. So, we're just working that same, it's the same theory. We're just moving these parts back a key at a time. Back through the circle of 4s. But alright, yeah, C, A flat major, B flat major, and G. And the reason I'm not ending on a bar chord here and I'm ending on a just job detuning, of course, but a normal G chord for me. Muting the 1 string. And that's so I can go into this chromatic part with these, and it's just a B flat through C, B flat, B, C, and F through G. So F, F sharp, and G. That easy. Now, that's the end of this one. So that's the end of the C skipper. C skipper, we skip the C note, B to D, B flat to C sharp, no C note. C note comes in once we get going on the next part. It ties into something else, which also ties into the next one. But once we get to this part to where we're starting off the C with the chromatic now, whole different song. We're actually going into something else, and I'll talk about that one a little bit. Mainly because I talk about it in another video, and I compare it to a D minor and a C key for some reason, and it's just wrong. It actually compares to an F key much better. But this is one of those 8-note keys. One of those you just alter all the right things and you wind up with 8 positions. But starting on F, the immediate thing we're doing is sharpening the 2. This is how we're getting F sharp 2. We have our normal 3 note, our normal 4 note, our normal 5 note. Now we have the flat 6 and the 6th note, and then we move to E to get our 7th note. But we also do utilize flat 7 at time. It's just an extra alt that's thrown into. If I can do it right now, let's see. But I'll show you if I can do it. So it's all that chromatic positioning, but you see how the note choices are accounting for it all. You see how it's coming about. I mean, it's reasonable. one note. Sharp 2, 3, 4, 5. We know we're inserting something. I mean, that is a plug right there, but it is part of our key too. So I mean, we do have that sharp 5/flat 6 insert whenever it comes to what we're doing. But it's 8 notes. We knew something was going to be funky. It should be 7. Something's got to be funky. That's what it is. Then we get to our D note, which is going to be our real 6th note. And then again, we just close out with E, our 7 note, and we're right back to F. And whenever we do go to that E flat note, we know what it is. It's just an alteration. Really, it's being used with the 7 note, so it's really like a sharp 6 application. But I mean, we're almost more used to playing 7th chords than major 7th chords, so it's kind of, you know, and it's such a common blues chromatic also, seeing that flat 7 position applied. So it feels like one of the more normal things in there. It really does. Again, looking at it from that perspective. I also like seeing this from the key of D, but in that case it's a D minor, and you have to sharp a 4 and flat a 6. But again, it's an 8-note key, no matter what something crazy's happening. Oh, and also with the D minor one, add the flat 7, which is going to be what produces the C note, that final. So, hold on, let me unconfuse myself. I started working that wrong and didn't skip my 1.5 steps. There we go. Single note version, or of course we're not playing that. We're doing things out of that. But those are the notes we're using. That's how this song was built. The first song in the DS5. That's how it was built. Also, the other C skipper, that one's totally different than this C skipper. It's not a moving key. It's a crazy thing that has the same theory as that first song in the DS5, with that same exact key fueling its beginning. But the difference is it moves on to other things without moving on to other songs. The DS5 is kind of like 5 unique songs, but they work their keys from the same. It's meant to flow in and out of each other. So, different things you can do with it. This is song building. All right, but I mean, also, this is another good one. Like, do you think I really sat down and was like, oh joy, let's write this big, long, complicated thing of a moving key that attaches to just something simple and it has no other parts to it? No. Started out with this thing, and pretty quickly this got found out the next part. Alright, and then for a while it was just, well, I knew to take it to the key of A and do it again, but I wasn't really sure about that. It wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough to make a song. So for a while, it was just something I drug around until I finally decided to make it into a moving key, had the wherewithal to truly add that third D part onto it and make it something more substantial for being so simple. Managed to wrap it around to where it can go around twice on itself, but then it heads from that. I mean, it's just an intro part in a 3 cycle with a 2-part moving key thing, just on a 3 cycle. It's not much. It's not a full song, but you attach it to something bigger, and all of a sudden it's the introduction for 5 full songs. So. And actually some of those are short too. Some of those really needed the help from the other songs to make them songs. Otherwise it's just kind of like, this is a couple of parts here, this is a couple of parts here, this is huge, this is substantial, this is decent. But it's really all 6 of them tied together that makes it. I mean, other than that, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably just be dragging them around. They'd be things I play every once in a while, but they're not serious. By the connection, it became serious. Alright, now I need to show you the other part. Well, you can do this also, like... Yep, that's correct. But you can do this with 5th chords. Full 5th chords to start. You're going to do 3 of them. The E, the G, and the A. And then we're going to go to 3-note 5th chords for the C and the D5. With the A one? Okay, also, so we end on a 3-note chord. So the second part's going to be 3 notes for this part. Helps you see the pattern a bit different also. It's just, so I mean, doing it this way also helps to see the pattern for what we're doing with the real chords. So it's a good thing to have this second part. Alright, but this is the it just kind of accentuates things. It provides accent. So I consider the first part with the major chords the full part. This is the accent part. Alright, second time through, whenever we're beginning off of A, we use 3-note chords to start. There's going to be 3 of them. The A5, C5, D5, and then we simply go to our... So, F5 and G5 are just going to be our 5-note chords again. So I'm going to do it real quick. So we're getting more power at the end this time rather than taking power away. So, and then we move to this other part, and it's much easier, isn't it, whenever you can play the E flat 5 chord as just a full 5th chord, not worry about the 1 note. But now it's not an E flat chord, it is a full 5th chord, so we are leaving out, you know, it's not major anymore, it's just a 5th chord. But it captures what we need for this part. We have the other guitar that's capturing that. This part's the accent part, so this part's getting the power into it this time because we got those 5 notes. And well, the final time we start on the 5-note chords with the D to the F to the G, and then our B flat 5 and our C5 are going to be 3-note. And this time we're going to be going from you're ending on a G chord, so you just get used to seeing it. So you know you start on a C, but A flat position, B flat position, and that G position. And I mean, I know we're used to circle of fifths a lot with guitar, maintain our open strings, but it's just, you get used to it, you do it. Alright, And whenever you're writing out of four, whenever you're writing out of the circle of fours, you'll get used, especially with your own songs, because it's your touch to it. You will get used to it. Alright, that's going to be it for the intro. Let's move on to the actual Scooby medley. And this isn't going to be a long one. This is going to be a key of D thing with a, well, it's kind of got a complementary key of B and even F sharp. But I need to explain that. Alright, so the Scoob theme. So, alright, so the alterations show up, it's all major chords, so the alterations are going to show up both in the major chords, but also in the, in that little chromatic right there. And really what I believe the additional note is in this chromatic is the F note, and I think that's how he's tapping in. That's why I say it's got a B key alternate, but it's also got like an F sharp key alternate. It's like he's throwing in, it's like he's just pushing the key one more forward with that note. Because the notes we're tapping into with our chords are going to be our 3 note in the B chord. It's going to be our D sharp note. In the D chord, it's just an F sharp. That's common for QG. But in the F sharp, or common for the key of D, there we go. In our F sharp, we have an A sharp note showing up. B flat, A sharp. So it's like it's pushing. Yeah, it's like it's pushing, trying to push to the B key or something like that, and then push the F key. You could also see it going the other way and going towards like the key of, what would it be, flat or something like that. But since I really see this from the key of D, it just kind of makes sense to go forward. It's closer. It just makes sense to find the alt from that, rather than big time cycling. So, alright, and also with the Scoob theme, there's a few other things you can do off of this thing. I mean, it's not grounded to a D key by any means. There's a few things you could do. There's a few things you could do off the B key with the minor. I'm sorry, that's not the minor. That is the augmented. So you've got some options where you can take some of the notes that are missing, and kind of like the melodies you could attach to this. So, and that's just one of them. So, but yeah, that would still be D key. That would just be the augmented. That's how I'm getting that B flat in there. I still have the B note. So, I just wanted you to hear that. It's something else to consider. Like, you're not, whenever you see open notes and there's things missing, and there's some, that opens up the lead door. That opens up melody door. I know I like playing around with things like that. I'd rather write my own songs, but I see something like that, I can't help but say, hey, what are some of the intricate little sounds I can make in there? Add the solos in and add some little melodies in. See what comes out. Alright, but moving into the Pink Panther, we're going to encounter something similar again. This is going to be a D key. I mean, of course, we're starting on the B position, so we're working from our the minor or minor scale, the minor position that best aligns with the major, our sixth position, where we find our minor scale. The one that lines up with the major, not the harmonic or the melodic, the normal one. But, alright, with the Pink Panther, it's a D key with F key little alterations. But basically what we're going to see is a B flat note and an F note enter into our standard D key. And we start with a alteration, but we're not going to see too many of them, just an F and a B flat. That's the only two alterations we're going to see to this. So B flat slides to B. That's the next alteration, when the B flat note enters into the F sharp chord, so as a 3 note. So it's just using its alts. Because once we slide this, that's just C sharp sliding to D. That's in the key of D. G sliding to F sharp, key of D. So C sharp to D and G to F sharp are good. After the chord, though, we do have, that's going to be a B flat sliding to a B. And it's going to be an F sliding to an F sharp twice. And whenever we get to this part, we have a B5, B flat 5, and A5 to a G. Whoops, I started on C. I'm supposed to start on B. So yeah, it's a B fifth chord. It's a B flat and an F note. So it's right in line with everything we've been doing. And well, we get to see that chromatic position come up in our fifth chord. So Pink Panther, that show tune-esque, things that a few of them do. We're gonna go over a few of these like things. It's just one more interesting thing that it does, really. I mean, with the return notes, and then the little chromatic positionings and our insert notes, I mean, well built, fun song, nice little show tune. Alright, one more thing about the Pink Panther, though, before we move on to anything else. You got this little part here to where it's... So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then we get a fifth bar and we're moving to an A. And what's going on there? Well, that's just what's going on there. E 1 bar, F sharp 1 bar, but we bring that seventh note on the one string, just leaving it open in the end. Back to that E, back to that F sharp, same thing, leave the one string open on the end to get a little seventh note quality sound going to that F sharp chord, then move to the A chord for one measure. So it's a 5 measure deal, and I mean, we're so used to 4 measures, 8 measures, 16 measures, 32 measures. Anytime you can do something different, if the opportunity's there and it sounds good, why not do it? If it doesn't sound good, don't do it. let the song write itself. But if a part comes up that's different, go for it if it sounds good. Of course. Alright. Let's go ahead. Well, get back into this part right here. That. I know another location or another song that features something like that exact trick, but it's not going to be in the key of, what I say this key was, the key of D. No, it's not going to be in the key of D, it's going to be in the key of G. Funky G key has got a flat 3 and a flat 6 inserted into the G key. So an E flat and a B flat inserted into the G key. So it's interesting, this one's gonna be. But I think you'll know it. It's the themed wine, 007 wine. So, and this one's cool because it's got a nice little lead in too. Actually, it's got two different lead ins. One of them goes. And the other one goes. Except this is the first stance. So our 1, 1, and 2, yeah. So that's actually the stance. That's not part of the lead in. The lead in is just ding, ding, ding. Other lead in. Ding, ding, ding. Starts it off. Alright, so again. Got the 2. And well, let's give it a roll and show it how it connects to that. Alright, here we go. I'm doing them single note, so because I'm keeping up with the. But if you were doing you got your options there. That's what would be there if it was the chord part. I'm doing the notes. I like the notes on that one. Alrighty, and well. Again, you see the crazy key going on there. But again, we've explained it. See, it's a G key. You're just adding, it's a 9-note key. You are adding in a flat 3 and a flat 6 note. This probably looks pretty familiar, huh? Okay, well, basically, in this case, you're integrating a B flat augmented key with that G key. So. And that's just one of the things you're doing. Those are easy start points for what's going on. But I mean, we can use different variations of what's going on also. We don't have to use all 9, we can change things accordingly as we need to, as we move through or build parts. So, this is what's going on for this part and for, well, what exists of it. Alright, But let's get into one more thing. I got one that just it's the that's not the only sound that theory produces, by the way. Like, it's not just you can do this differently and come up with who knows what. So there's other sounds you can make using this exact same theory. I have one of them, so I'm just gonna play a part or two from it. So I'm just gonna have a little fun first, and okay. So yeah, that first thing. That's all what I said it was. The G key combined with the B flat augmented key, or the G key integrated with the B flat augmented key. 9 notes. But once we change to this whole you're thinking, yay, 5/4 part. No, I lied to you last video. There's no part. There's no 5/4 part to this video. This is actually this is a 2/4 part and a 3/4 part. Well, You wouldn't want to do this on a 3, would ya? I think up there. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So it just makes it easier. I mean, everything's on a 2 or a 3. It just makes it easier to be like 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3. Same with, well, the other part connected. There's something in there on a... attached to something longer. There's something in there that's also on a 3. So, I mean, so close. We got 4/4 part 2. We just didn't do that. We did the 3/4 parts, the 2/4 parts, and the 2/4 part that interacts with the 3/4 part. The part that looks like it's on a 5, but it's just so much like. With the way, okay, something like Beetlejuice. Yeah, the alteration's right in the middle of it. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to count that on a 5. That's convenient to count on a 5. I mean, 5's not convenient, but whenever you hear it, it's like, okay, one of them's 4, one of them's 5. There's no reason for it to be one of them 4, there's another 2, and there's another 3. There's no reason for that. One of them's 4, one of them's 5. With this, there's a reason for it, and it's this part, right? It's that part. Let me try to get back into it somehow without having to go through the whole thing. That was easy. Just easier to count that on a 2, and that's the reason. I mean, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and I mean, sure, we can go 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and that's totally like that's a choice right there. That's a choice, and I just see it because like we've got this part that is on a 2. We've got other things that are on a 3. And then we have these 2 parts right here, the and the. And everything, like, they're 2 different parts. One of them cycles, the other one kind of builds around different portions coming off of that. So. It just makes sense. It's just kind of like, I would love for that thing to be a real 5/4, but it just makes sense to have it 2 and split it up 2 and 3 just because of the other things that are going on in there. Alright, so the key to all this. Alrighty. Believe it or not, you can key this. I'll do this in the description also. But you can key this from E flat or G. So keep the E flat one in mind because it makes for very reasonable explaining of this. There's also a way to key this from D, and it has like the same amount of alterations as keying it from G. I think the one from E flat is 1 alteration, no matter what. I mean, you see what's going on with all this. You're going to encounter an alteration somewhere. The one from G and the one from D, it's like 2 alterations. But basically, we just got a D note, an E flat note, an F sharp note, a G note, an A note, a B flat note, then C sharp note, D, E flat. That's our little chromatic position right there. So that's what it is. And again, we're just moving from one to the other. So, how things progress. Alright, getting back into the long covers medley, we next move into that Japanese theme. It's from an anime, and Outlaw Star straight up themed this thing. They put like lyrics to it and everything. But this was also in one of the Macross Plus. I think it was Macross Plus. Pretty sure. I don't think it was the movie or anything like that. I think it was Macross Plus, but it's just this beautiful little theme in the key of D, starting on the B chord, and you're just basically working. We're pushing forward to move back, so we kind of got like ascension, descension. Just a nice little touch. And then it moves back, so it moves forward to move back. All of it is the key of D. I'm sorry, the key of... Whoa. Let me make sure I get this right. I don't think this one is the key of D, actually. This one should be my key of G1. Key of G. It only has the F sharp note in it, so... No, I'm wrong. That's the last song. We just came from the key of G. Oh, okay, that was the key of G1. Alright, no, we're good. This is key of D. C sharp right there. I knew there was a G in there somewhere, but we just came from it. Duh. What am I thinking? I guess we're getting close to the end of this, because I'm making mistakes now. Alright, this one's all key of G though. I mean, I can play that pretty part for you real quick. Wait, how does it go? Still. All key of D. We're just working our position in there. Working off that Aeolian mode. And we're going to move to something that's in the key of A now. And this is going to actually be this is a James Horner theme that we're about to move into next. This is going to be, so like, you've seen me do the Disney before. Well, we're finally doing, we're going to do a Don Bluth one this time. And Don Bluth has the James Horner. So, like, Don Bluth, like, they don't have like you don't get the army of musicians like you do with Disney, but you get the James Horner. But the Disney musicians, they're really, really good. But like, okay, that's like having an army of James Horners. Well, like if you have one James Horner or an army of James Horners, like no matter what, you still have a James Horner. You're doing pretty good. So Disney with their army of musicians, that's really impressive. But Don Bluth with the and what those movies have done with the James Horner themes, I mean they're usually impressive too. Don Bluth movies include Land Before Time, the Fievel Goes West Adventures with the Incredible Journey thingy, or whatever, the Fievel Adventures, the little mouse dude, and Land Before Time, Fievel, and there's one more big one, and that would be... Oh, how come I'm not going to get this right now? There's one more big one. Land Before Time, The Fievel Adventures, and... Well, I'm just not going to get it right now, but there's another big one. I'll probably think of it before the video's up. But, alright. We're going to do one... Oh, it's killing me not being able to get that, too. All Dogs Go to Heaven. How could I forget? Come on now. Alright, that's the other big one, though. All Dogs Go to Heaven. I had to get that one. Alright, the Disney. I got one correction that I might need to do with Disney, because I did another long video. No rush to release that one. We're going to get some different material. I want to do timing lessons. We need to get that under, like, that's another important aspect. Is not just keys. Timing's important, too. You know, I'm always stressing the difference between a count versus your time signature. It's important. Alright, but with the Disney correction, you know, I was going through this longer theme. I got to the last song, and I was like, oh, I confuse this with that theme from Casablanca a lot. I wonder if I did it in the video. So I'm really worried that I probably called the Sammy Fain song. I probably mixed it with the Billie Holiday song. The Billie Holiday song is I'll Be Seeing You. The Sammy Fain song is... As time goes by. Now, I just recently learned that cover that I do of come on, brain, you are not firing anymore, are ya? Once Upon a Dream, there we go. That little Once Upon a Dream sequence, that was Sammy Fain's song. I didn't know that until recently. And anyway, with Casablanca, it's the Sammy Fain song, but Max Steiner is actually the person who composed Casablanca. He took that Sammy Fain song, and well, him and the director decided it would be a good idea to build the soundtrack around that. And yeah, that worked. That worked. I'll Be Seeing You, or see, I mixed the two up. Just blah, 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 as time goes by. Good song to work. It worked. That was a good idea. That definitely made for a top movie of all time. Oh, and also Max Steiner scores. They're powerful scores. He's an old musician from... Alright, he did scores like Gone with the Wind, Casablanca, of course, the other big one along with Gone with the Wind, but also that bouncing score to Don Pablo. So, I mean, no matter what he does, they're fun scores, they're powerful scores. I mean, he's a bopping musician. Not quite funky like Horner, but still bopping. He's got some... He knows how to emphasize things. Like, he's really good at that. That's a musician you can learn a thing or two about emphasis from, about emphasizing notes. All right, let's go into the actual song. I think I might have a correction to make. I try to get to the corrections and list them both in the descriptions, but also bring them up in videos eventually. And well, I'm not even sure about this one. I haven't found it yet. I forget where it's located, but I just have a feeling that's what I did. I get those two confused. I covered the Billie Holiday song. I don't know a lick of Casablanca. Like, I don't know why. I love the movie. I just haven't bothered picking that one through yet. It's just one I have not gotten to. So, it's one I don't know a lick of. Alright, but this one I do know a lick of. We're going to do this James Horner score from, well, a Don Bluth movie. And, well, it's just a little, you know how I do things. It's just a little lesson I took out of. There's a lot of instruments whenever it comes to these film composers. So I kind of have to pick apart and go with it. And that's what I did. And I like this one. This one makes sense to me. We got an A key, but we're using a B flat plug as a chromatic positioning to create our little intermediary part, our in-between part. So we start with this bopping. Got that bobbin thing coming off the B, D, A, and G sharp. Those are the notes that are in there. And we're always going to that open D note for any time we can add a note in there. So before we go down on that A note, not G note, A note. Before we go and hit the A note, we get that open D in there. Before we come back to the B note, we get that open D in there. And we know that G sharp note is in there, so we know it is overall feeling like a true A key. We can write this out of A, but once we get to the that chromatic in there. Just something interesting. It's not the best part, and I'm gonna cover here, obviously, but it's just one more thing to see, one more thing to show. And now we move on to, well, the Lord of the Rings animated, but this was also used in South Park for Lemmy-Winks. And, well, we have these positionings that are so going on here? Well, B, A sharp, and G sharp. And of course, you're going to come back to the A sharp. But what else do we have going on? Well, we have this A flat, G, F, and of course, you're going to come back to the G. Whoops. I went up an extra octave, or extra half step, not octave, half step. Try to do it again, I'm getting tired. What is this? What are we seeing here? Like, what key is this? Like, why are all these, like, I mean, is it gonna do it again? I think it is. I think the next note would be E, actually. And what I think's happening here, now we just don't know. We don't have information between that. So we start at B, we end at F. We don't know anywhere, anything from C to E. It's just missing. We don't know. But I think what's happening here is a 1/1/2 stepper. It just has that feel. It just seems like it. And the chromatic thing they're doing with it, it just has that feel. And if that were the case, the notes that we're missing are going to be the C sharp, the D, and the E note, if it is a 1/1/2 stepper. And if it is a 1/1/2 stepper, we can score it for the key of D, F, G sharp / A flat, or B. Well, all of them will do, any one of them, because they're all going to contain the same notes, and just that's the way the 1/1/2 stepper works. It's an oddball. So I just kind of have a feeling that's what's going on there. And yeah. And again, we're missing position, so we don't actually know. Alright. I guess we mentioned Disney, so we have to do something by Disney before the video ends. So let's close out here.